Hi everyone, I wanted to change the brake fluid on my Ford Falcon BA, and I noticed there wasn't very many specific Ford Falcon BA or BF videos already out there on how to change the brake fluid or how to flush it. So I hope my video today following my process helps others in the future so that they have a bit of an idea of some of the tools that are needed for the job, and also some of the procedure that's specific for the Ford Falcon BA and BF, and potentially some of the either earlier or later models. I'm sure not a lot has changed within the Ford family. Okay, so just to begin, guys, you'll be needing something to actually drain out the old fluid from the brake caliper. So here, in this situation, I've opted for this particular Tool Pro product, essentially just a bit of clear tubing with a bit of a rubber grommet on the end, and I found just from sight that was going to apply for the Ford Falcon brake caliper bleeder nipple the best. Of course, you'll need some .4 brake fluid. I've opted for a syringe to remove some of the old fluid from the reservoir, a 10mm spanner to loosen your bleeder nipple. I found in my case a very small flathead allowed the rubber grommet to seat onto the nipple a little easier. You'll be needing a bottle to drain the old fluid from the brake nipple. I've gone ahead and drilled a hole that will allow the hose to seat inside the bottle. I found just a 600ml bottle seemed to seat quite well just behind the reservoir and in front of the actual brake cylinder there. And we'll find very easy just two little tabs that, when pulled up, allow the access to the reservoir itself. They're spring loaded. Just be gentle so you don't get brake fluid flying everywhere. Bit of a grommet on the inside. Beautiful. Now, just for the time being, I'll be placing this grommet back inside the cap, but being that this is my first time working on the Falcon, what I would do in the future, were I to do this again, I'd have a rag close by and place this grommet into the rag, but for now that will do. Excellent. So generally almost none of us change the brake fluid. I'll be looking to start off with this is more of just a routine service of the actual brake fluid itself. Not having any issues at the moment, but what I'd be looking at doing is using my syringe here to suck out as much of the old fluid as possible, and then topping up with our fresh fluid, making sure that there is yes, that's right, some constant supply of fresh fluid as we go to bleed the system. Now, we don't want to be bleeding all of this old fluid out, so why not remove it at this stage? So I know some people have used some turkey basters, is that how you pronounce it? My apologies if that's incorrect, but I found this is just a bit of a household everyday syringe, and I'll be looking at placing this and emptying this into my empty bottle here, just like so. So I'll be looking to remove as much as I can, and I'll be right back with you there, guys. And I've just gone ahead and finished draining most of the fluid out of the reservoir. We don't want it completely empty, guys. We don't want to get air in the system. And there's about say 200 to 300 ml or so that came out. Excellent. And now, guys, we want to go through and top up the reservoir with our fresh fluid, and you can go a little more than you perhaps think you may need, as a lot of this fluid is going to be flushed out through the calipers. So I'm going to go to about this stage at the moment, guys. I'm not sure if that's visible. Pretty visible, that's good. And just to ensure we don't get any leaves or crap from blowing around in the air, blown into the system, I'm just going to place this top grommet in. I'm not going to cap it over the top, but that'll let me check the fluid level once we start flushing out the calipers. And moving over to the rear of the car, start off with jacking the car up. putting it under some jack stands, taking the wheel off, and then taking you through just a plan I've got before we go ahead. So initially, just to show you all that this is of course starting off on the rear right. We have our bleeder nipple here, just getting this to focus. We have the 10mm nut attached to this bleeder nipple. What I'm going to start off with is just some old power steering fluid. I'm going to lubricate around this, behind this flange. So this is the nipple, the nut, and the flange. I'm going to grease this just to help. I want to try and avoid stripping the actual wings of the nut. And so not going to use a lot here, just to help lubricate things, should this help. And I've also got a bit of a bucket to catch any spill. And guys, that should do it. Don't want a lot, just a little bit, and that should help. Beautiful, excellent. Okay, we'll leave that there for now. Okay, and this is now where it gets a little fiddly with this particular product that I've got now. I'm sure there's many other products. You may even use just some wider gauge piping that may work a little easier, but I found in this specific Ford Falcon BA with this specific Tool Pro product, using this flat head to open the mouth, I was able to get this over. So with a little persuasion, this grommet goes over. And I'm just videoing this part again, just should someone buy this specific Tool Pro product. I start with making sure the far end is seated, then I'll pull over the near side end. Ooh, and I want to make sure that it's sealed all the way around. And of course, guys, as you guys all know, we do something off camera, or when someone's not watching, we can get things on first. We'll get things done the first attempt. And beautiful, there we go. So we're in action. Okay, so now that this is on, we can bring over our earlier drain bottle with that hole pre-drilled. I'm going to insert the hose in. Now guys, we want to make sure our hose, once inserted, when the hole is, there we go, playing game, we want to ensure that our hose, once inside, is seated all the way underneath the current brake fluid, because we don't want to be pulling up any air back into the system. So feed this in and just make sure it's sitting underneath the fluid like so. Okay, sorry I didn't get that into camera, but there we are. Okay, so guys, what I'm going to do now is make sure that the actual hose itself is higher than the position of the bleed nipple, because again, that's going to trap all the air upward, if there is any air in the system, of course, but we don't want to be sucking any air in. So what I'll be looking at doing is detaching my camera from the camera holder. I've gone ahead and actually placed like an old oil bottle, and I'm going to place my bottle on top, and then that's going to allow me to make sure my hose is above the bleeder nipple position. And there we are. I managed to just bring the bottle a bit closer, and that's a beautiful position, guys. Excellent. Thanks, guys. So this is where we get our 10mm spanner. Just a quick chat here, guys. If you're more confident than me and you've already done brake flushes before, excuse this next part, but if you're like me and this is your first brake fluid flush, don't be too scared. Of course, we're on this journey together, and you've got the hindsight of this video, but we don't want to crack this nut if it's not giving you know, too easily. We don't want to strip the actual wings. So I'm going to get this in a position that I've got enough hand leverage, because we can foul on this shock here. And I'm going to place that about, let's flip this one around. There we go. I'm happy with that one. There is a little bit of a slack to it, guys, so just be careful when going to loosen this nut. So lefty loosey as always, and we don't want to undo it completely, just crack it enough that it'll allow fluid to come out. So I'll just go back onto the camera holder, and we want to make sure that when our spanner is seated, we're not seated at any awkward angles, as that will potentially damage the wings on the nut. So I'm going to make sure this is as flat as possible, as in line as possible. I'm happy with that, and let's be confident together, guys. Let's give this a little bit of a tug. This probably hasn't been undone in a while, and I feel, guys, I'll be back with you. What I found, guys, was I wasn't happy. My spanner wasn't giving enough leverage, and it was starting to slip off, and I didn't want to damage those wings, because then we'd be screwed. What I decided to do instead was I disconnected our earlier connected rubber grommet hose, got a spanner on, got a socket on, and being that, again, it was still quite tight here, there wasn't enough leverage to get my hand around. I managed to just get a bigger spanner on here to give the leverage. And just a little quick tip here, guys. Use the ring end of your spanner, and I've got, you know, a 19mm in this case, just because it's meaty, got a lot of length to it, a lot of leverage. And what we can do is if you place it on and have it so your spanner is actually on top, you'll be able to gain that extra leverage you need. If you end up having it the opposite way around, it still will work. But by opposite way around, I mean if you have your spanner coming down from the bottom, and see how, you know, this won't really work. If anything, this will help to tighten. But if we have it that, you know, coming from top down, now that'll be able to give us the leverage we need. Just a little tip that will help. And then I managed to actually just crack this open. So I just want to give this a little bit of a loosen. We can do the rest with our spanner, but see, now it is hand tight. That is excellent. Now let's go back to connecting our hose. And being that this rubber grommet's been stretched a few times, here's hoping it'll play game. And it just about has, guys. Let's give it a bit of a spinny. Nope. I've actually got a bit of fluid coming out. That's good, guys. Let's tighten this up a little bit at this stage so we don't make a mess. Beautiful. Going back on. Actually, let's give it a bit of a dry with a spare rag. Going back over the top. It looks like this time with a bit of lubrication it goes on its own. Perfect, guys, perfect. Again, just dry everything so later on as we start flushing we can see if there are any leaks. Beautiful. Just checking that everything's all seated nicely. Excellent. Continuing on, guys. So now we can, again, just making sure that our hose is further up than the position of the bleeder nipple. That'll work. Now we can loosen this one. Just maybe about a half turn, guys, and that should do it, guys. Beautiful. Now if we go to the car and pump the brake, we should be able to see some fluid coming out. I'm going to leave you here, guys, so you can gander on the fluid coming out, and if there's no fluid coming out, let's investigate together, guys. So we'll just get this positioned. Lovely. That should be better. Excellent. Perfect. So we've got it loosened, about a half turn or so. We'll go to the driver's side and press the brake pedal, maybe once just to test, and let's see if there's fluid coming out, guys. Just had to move the camera stand to be able to open the door. Okay, so this is our first attempt together, guys. Just pressing the brake now, so on 3, 2, 1, pressing all the way to the bottom and letting go, coming back to have a check. And looks like it popped off. Great work, guys. Thanks, guys. So what I've done is reconnected the line, this time cable tied it. Let's see if that holds. And I apologize for all the noise pollution, neighbors and dog. Okay, so let's go back to the car, press the foot on the brake, and see how we go this time. So we'll count down 3, 2, 1, and press. Okay, well, I didn't hear any any crazy seals this time, and there may be some air in the system. Let's give it another try together, guys. Okay, so just press the button a couple times there. Okay, it's been good, guys, that I have run into some problems. That way you guys can learn from what's going on here. So what I found was, you know, I just loosened it a little more, pumped the brake a couple times, even though it does feel a little bit harder and lower than usual. I pumped it a couple times, maybe 5-6 times, and now we've started to get some fluid coming out. So let's go press a few more times. What I found was I'd loosened it too much, and we were actually getting fluid leaking out. So what I've opted for this time is just to have it open just a crack. So let's say about that much, just a little bit, to allow the fluid to come out. Now let's see if we can get the right amount coming out together. Just going to check with our spanner again, and I apologize, guys. Yeah, I'm learning as I go. This is the first time that I've been working on a brake system on a Ford Falcon. Let's see here, get this over here. There we go. Okay, so that's about tight. Just want that snug. Okay, just a little bit like that. Beautiful. Alright, guys, let's see how we go. I'm not going to be too fussed if there's going to be fluid coming out here, because even when we tighten it, you know, we'll be in business. So let's go and press the brake pedal a couple times and watch that fluid come on out. Beautiful. We'll just get that into position like so. Beautiful. Okay, guys. I'll avoid bumping that setup. Let's see how we go, guys. Give it a couple more pumps. Beautiful, guys. I'm gonna return once I've got things going, because I don't want to waste any more time. Let's just get things as succinct as possible. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, so what I realized was I was having only 1 foot on the brake, 1 foot out of the car. Wasn't able to actually depress the brake pedal with much force, so we weren't getting enough pressure in the braking system with the car off. And it was just manual hydraulic pressure. There wasn't enough to bleed the system. Now we can see there's constant fluid flow. I just recommend sitting in the car and just braking all the way as much as possible, and then I actually felt the resistance that I wanted. So I'll just return once things are looking a lot more flushed. What we want to do is continue checking the brake fluid reservoir and topping up, making sure the level is high enough. We don't want to be forgetting about that reservoir and then sucking air into the system if the fluid flushes out and we forget in that forefront. But we'll return here once the fluid is coming out fresh and clean, like the brand new fluid coming out of the new box, the new bottle, I should say. So guys, I'll be right with you again once things are looking a bit more flushed. So here we have the before. Hey guys, so we're still in the system of flushing this brake line. What I would just for something that occurred to me that may help guide you all as we're going. If you're unsure if it's working or not, what you can do is take a marker and make a line where the current fluid level was before you start, and then as you brake, you'll be able to monitor that the fluid is actually rising. Then you know that the system is actually getting flushed. And I would do the same at the end closest to, not closest to, but in the actual reservoir. I wouldn't be marking anything in here, but we can see that there is a little bit of a floaty section in the middle. You'll be able to use that as your marker to see if you know, the fluid indeed is getting flushed down. So I'm trying to not let my fluid drop below that marker there, and keep topping up as I go. Okay guys, just a recommendation. I've actually started the car and found that the system will be able to be pushed, or the brake pedal obviously will be able to, you can, let's rewind. Okay, so without the car on, just like if you've ever pressed the brake pedal a couple times and you've noticed the brake pedal get stiff, that's how much pressure I had to use to actually press the brake pedal down. And of course it would take forever, and my right foot will tire quite quick. So I've just trialed it, turned the car on, and of course there's no air being introduced in the system because we're checking that fluid level. And now we've got that power brake function. You know, it's nice and light, nice and easy, and our fluid is flushing quite well. So you know, let's return once this line is getting flushed. But I found out just from personal experience that would be making life a lot easier. So beautiful, and keep checking that fluid level, guys, both here and in your brake fluid reservoir up the front. And just thought I'd quickly document this process as well, guys. Nothing special to it. We're just pressing that all the way to the floor a couple times. I'm doing about 4 or 5 times, losing count. And then I'm going back and just checking nothing's popped off and exploded everywhere, checking the color as we're going, that's looking good. And also then coming to our brake fluid reservoir up the top here and topping up as I need. Beautiful, guys. So again, I'll be back once things are looking a lot more flushed. And we are getting some much cleaner fluid coming out now. Still going to go a little more until I'm completely satisfied that the color of fresh clear fluid is coming out, and then this side will be done. Beautiful. Thanks, guys. Now if you're like me and this is your first time flushing brake fluid and you're a little unsure as to whether the current brake fluid is that is coming out is completely fresh or not, I've swapped over to a completely clean bottle. Let's go press the brake one more time and let's see if we're happy with the color that's coming out here. We can perhaps match that to brand new fluid. I still feel there's still some green tinge in here, so I will go a little more, but I just thought perhaps this tactic may help those of us that are a little less experienced decide if things are going well. Okay. As suspected, guys, it always does show up a lot cleaner and clearer when it's on its own or in a small quantity. But have a look, it's very dark in color, no real change yet, so we've got to keep going. Beautiful. All right, as daylight is very quickly fading, I will be looking to perhaps end the video a little earlier than I anticipated. I was looking to show you the finished result on each wheel, but let's see how we go. If I don't see you at the complete end, what we do want to ensure that we do is that all 4 bleeding nipples are tightened, not over tightened. Again, you don't want to break the threads, but all 4 are tightened. You check for leaks and have the car completely leveled down on the ground, no jack stands, no discrepancies there, and at that point check the brake fluid level in your reservoir. So at this stage, let's see how much further we have time together today. I'll be definitely aiming to give you a finished look to see what fresh clean brake fluid looks like in the line. Thanks, guys. So in summary, I have continued another about 10 minutes or so. What I've found is I've actually tipped out. There was one batch, a second batch that I emptied into our container here, and the fluid is actually meant to be clear, completely crystal clear, just as my granddad always says, like a teardrop, from actual from actual tears, how they're completely clear. But otherwise, guys, what I'm finding happening here is that I'm about to finish my 1 litre bottle of brake fluid. So whether in this case, the fluid was really dirty and needed some good flushing, we're still finding, with this 3rd stage that I'm starting, it is still dirty. Now, it definitely isn't as dirty as initially as it was, because I found when I was tipping out the 1st and the 2nd bottles, the 1st bottle, the fluid as I was splashing off the side piece here was very dirty. 2nd bottle that I popped in, the fluid wasn't as dirty, and I'm sure this 3rd bottle that we're starting now definitely isn't as dirty again. But what I'm finding is, not only am I running out of daylight, but also out of fresh fluid, So what I will be looking at doing is coming back to this job on another day to flush all the other lines. But this is definitely a start. It's better than nothing, guys. The reservoir itself and this line is already we've begun our flushing. Of course, there is still some more to go, but I definitely did find starting the car and having the car running made this process a lot easier. Perhaps I will actually make another video on another day on a complete flush, maybe a part 2 perhaps. But at this stage, even if this video does make it onto YouTube on its own, it definitely will help lots of us out there if we have no idea what's involved, and you can learn from some of my experience today. Definitely that cable tie helped. It hasn't popped off since. And just to show you guys in the brake fluid reservoir, the color, it still is looking quite dirty and green in there. That may be partly because it was so dirty to begin with, but what I've found is when I clean the sides, let's get this to focus, when I cleaned the sides of the actual reservoir, that definitely helped with the appearance. Now, I am pretty happy. When I check the fluid here, it is completely clear. We're not seeing any of that dirty fluid. Let's go, actually, guys, as a test comparison, let's go and compare. Let's put another finger in, guys, into the dirty fluid. Let's compare the difference. So they're definitely, we can't really tell actually. But also don't forget, guys, we have done quite a bit of flushing. This is almost about 1 litre of fluid in here. So there is quite a concentration of great clean fluid in here, so it is quite diluted. But I think what we can see, if I give this a bit of a stir, and it's a lot more noticeable in real life, but there is a lot of a dirtiness, and I can actually catch that now. Yes, a lot of that, I think, dirt and sediment that is in the system, and especially started off in the reservoir, indeed has actually come out. We're left with some great fresh fluid on top, but I think all the sediment that it's a mission success, guys. I'm happy that this car has a lot of its contaminants removed. It is pooling at the bottom. I think what we're getting is all the fresh fluid pooling at the top. So very, very good, guys. Again, I hope this video helps. You don't have any rags close by. Excellent. No, here's one that I prepared earlier. Very good. So guys, I think I'm going to end the video there today. Please let me know if this video helps. I do apologize that, again, it was my first attempt for this car and indeed of a brake fluid to date, but I learnt a lot. I hope you've learnt a lot, and yes, let me know in the comments if this video helped, and if you are stuck in any part of this procedure, feel free to leave me a comment. I'm more than happy to try and help if I can. But yes, I would say that is a mission success, guys. I'm happy that I checked inside this bucket here, because there was a lot of dirt that has come out. So we are looking like there is fresh fluid coming out of here. I think I will continue on another day to try and completely flush the system for peace of mind. However, even canning it at this stage, I'm happy that things definitely have improved since before I started. So again, guys, thanks so much. I hope some of my other videos help out there. I'll be looking to, again, try and fill up as much of the videos that are lacking on YouTube for some of this servicing and accessing of parts. So thanks again, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know if this video helped. Lots of love. We're going to start a thing. Yes, flick something for luck as we end each video. So today I'm going to flick this brake disc for luck. Thanks, guys. Beautiful. All right, catch you guys next time.